Imagine waking up every morning with absolute clarity about your purpose, immune to the chaos swirling around you, untouched by insults, failures, or misfortune. Picture yourself possessing an unshakable inner fortress, where external circumstances have no power over your peace of mind. What if I told you that nearly 2,000 years ago, the most powerful man in the world, sitting on a throne that commanded legions and controlled an empire stretching across 3 continents, wrote down the exact blueprint for achieving this state of mind? Not for publication, not for glory, but as personal reminders, scribbled in military camps, between battles, during plagues, and amid political turmoil. These were private notes, never meant for anyone else's eyes, yet they became one of humanity's most treasured philosophical works. This is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and today, we're diving deep into every transformative lesson this extraordinary emperor-philosopher left behind. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just any ruler. He was born in 121 AD into a world of privilege, yet he chose the harsh path of philosophy over comfort. He became emperor in 161 AD, inheriting an empire facing wars, plagues, and economic crisis. While most rulers would focus solely on power, Marcus turned inward, examining his own character, his reactions, his thoughts. He understood something profound, that the quality of your life is determined not by what happens to you, but by how you respond to what happens. Every single night, often exhausted from the demands of leadership and warfare, he would write. He wrote about controlling his temper, about being patient with difficult people, about accepting mortality, about finding joy in simple things, about staying humble despite unlimited power. These weren't theoretical musings from an ivory tower. These were practical tools forged in the fires of real responsibility, real pressure, real suffering. Let's start with the foundation of everything Marcus believed, the dichotomy of control. This concept is so simple, yet so revolutionary that it can change your life the moment you truly grasp it. Marcus constantly reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Think about how much of your mental energy you waste every single day worrying about things completely outside your control. The weather, other people's opinions, the past, the future, the economy, aging, death. Marcus argued that this is the root of all human suffering, our refusal to accept what we cannot change. He wrote extensively about dividing everything in life into 2 categories: things within your control and things outside it. What's within your control? Your thoughts, your judgments, your reactions, your effort, your character, your intentions. That's it. That's the complete list. Everything else, absolutely everything else, is outside your control. Other people's actions, outcomes, your reputation, success, failure, health, death, the past, the future, all of it, beyond your power. Now here's where it gets transformative. Marcus insisted that you should pour 100% of your focus and energy into what you control, and develop complete indifference to what you don't. Not apathy, but indifference. Recognize that these external things have no inherent power over your inner peace unless you grant them that power through your judgments. Someone insults you? That's outside your control, but whether you feel insulted, whether you let it disturb your peace, whether you respond with anger or grace, completely within your control. You worked hard on a project and it failed. The outcome was never truly in your control. You don't control market conditions, other people's decisions, timing, luck, but your effort, your learning from the experience, your resilience in moving forward, entirely within your control. Marcus himself faced catastrophic failures, military setbacks, betrayals, the death of children, yet he maintained his composure by constantly returning to this principle. He would ask himself, Is this something I can control? If yes, then act. If no, then accept it completely and focus elsewhere. This leads us directly to another cornerstone of Marcus's philosophy, the practice of accepting reality exactly as it is. He wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This isn't passivity or resignation, it's something far more powerful. It's the recognition that resistance to reality is the source of suffering. When something happens that you don't like, you have two options. You can accept it and work with it, or you can resist it and suffer. Resistance doesn't change what happened, it only adds emotional suffering to your experience. Marcus practiced radical acceptance, not happiness about negative events, but acceptance that they occurred. A plague swept through Rome, killing thousands daily. Marcus accepted this reality and focused on what he could control, organizing relief efforts, maintaining order, leading by example. He didn't waste energy wishing it wasn't happening or asking why me. He accepted the reality and responded skillfully. This practice of acceptance extends to people as well. Marcus knew he would encounter difficult people every single day: liars, the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful. Instead of being surprised or offended, he would remind himself each morning, "Today I will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, and antisocial. They are like this because they don't know good from evil, but I have seen the nature of good and know it is beautiful, and the nature of evil and know it is ugly, and the nature of the wrongdoer and know we are related, not by blood or birth, but by sharing the same mind and a portion of the divine. So none of them can harm me, because none can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I be angry with my relative or hate them, because we were born to work together." Look at the wisdom here. First, he mentally prepared himself, eliminating surprise and disappointment. Second, he understood that difficult people act from ignorance, not malice, which generated compassion rather than anger. Third, he recognized his connection to all humans, seeing them as relatives in consciousness. Fourth, he understood that their behavior couldn't truly harm him unless he chose to judge it as harmful. This framework allowed him to interact with extremely difficult people, corrupt senators, incompetent generals, scheming advisors, while maintaining his inner peace. Now let's explore one of the most powerful practices Marcus used: negative visualization. This Stoic technique involves regularly imagining loss, difficulty, and worst-case scenarios. Sounds depressing, right? Actually, it's incredibly liberating. Marcus would contemplate his own death, the death of loved ones, loss of power, loss of reputation, physical suffering. Why? Because this practice served multiple purposes. First, it reduced anxiety. Most anxiety comes from avoiding thoughts of bad outcomes. When you deliberately imagine them, examine them, and plan how you'd respond, they lose their power over you. Second, it increased gratitude. By imagining loss, you appreciate what you have right now. Marcus would remind himself that he could lose everything at any moment, and this made him deeply grateful for every present moment. Third, it prepared him mentally. When difficult things inevitably happened, he'd already mentally rehearsed them, so he could respond with wisdom rather than panic. Marcus wrote, "When you wake in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous and surly. But I have seen the beauty of good, and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own." He practiced this premeditation of adversity daily. He would imagine military defeats before battles, imagine illness before it struck, imagine betrayal before it occurred. This wasn't pessimism, it was preparation. It was removing the element of shock from negative events. Modern psychology has confirmed the effectiveness of this practice. Studies show that people who mentally rehearse challenges perform better and experience less stress when those challenges occur. They've already processed the emotional impact in advance. You can apply this immediately. Before an important meeting, imagine it going poorly and how you'd respond. Before a trip, imagine delays and how you'd stay calm. Before investing in something, imagine losing the money and whether you'd be okay. This practice builds resilience and reduces the fear that prevents action. Let's talk about one of Marcus's most challenging yet rewarding teachings, memento mori, remember you will die. Throughout meditations, Marcus relentlessly reminds himself of his mortality. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't morbid, it's clarifying. Death awareness serves as the ultimate prioritization tool. When you remember that your time is finite, that this day might be your last, that you will eventually lose everything and everyone, it forces you to focus on what truly matters. Marcus used death awareness to eliminate petty concerns. Someone disrespects him? Irrelevant. He'll be dead soon and so will they. A project fails? Insignificant. In 100 years no one will remember. Reputation damaged? Meaningless. Countless famous men are now completely forgotten. But death awareness didn't make Marcus nihilistic. It made him present and purposeful. He asked himself constantly, am I using my limited time wisely? Am I being the person I want to be? Am I treating people well? Am I living according to my values? He wrote, do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. Think about how differently you'd live if you truly internalized that you might die today. Would you waste hours on trivial entertainment? Would you hold grudges? Would you delay telling people you love them? Would you stay in a job you hate? Would you avoid taking risks on what matters? Marcus used death awareness as motivation to live fully now, not someday. He reminded himself that many who seem to have endless time died suddenly, that youth is no protection against death, that putting off virtue and purpose is foolish because you might not have tomorrow. This practice can transform your life immediately. Each morning, remind yourself, I might not see tomorrow. Ask yourself, if this were my last day, what would I want to do? How would I want to treat people? What would I regret not doing? Then live that way today. Another profound theme in meditations is the idea that the universe is inherently interconnected, and everything happens for a reason within the larger pattern. Marcus believed in a rational, ordered universe, where everything is woven together in a cosmic web of cause and effect. He wrote, everything is interwoven, and the web is holy. This belief served multiple purposes in his philosophy. First, it meant that nothing happens randomly or pointlessly. Every event, no matter how negative it appears, is part of a larger pattern and serves a purpose. The plague, the wars, the betrayals, all were necessary parts of the universal order. Second, it meant that humans are deeply connected to each other and to nature. Harming others is harming yourself. Benefiting others benefits yourself. You're all parts of one organism. Third, it meant that accepting what happens isn't just emotionally wise, it's recognizing reality. Fighting against what happens is like a leaf resisting the wind, pointless because you're part of the system, not separate from it. Marcus would remind himself, accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. He saw every person he encountered, every situation he faced, as exactly what the universe intended for him at that moment. This removed the sense of unfairness or victimhood. Nothing was happening to him that shouldn't be happening. It was all part of his path. Now, you don't have to believe in a predetermined cosmic order to benefit from this perspective. You can simply recognize that everything that happens is the only thing that could have happened, given all the causes and conditions that preceded it. Fighting against what already happened is completely pointless. The only rational approach is acceptance and skillful response. This perspective eliminates regret about the past and anxiety about the future. The past couldn't have been different, so regret is irrational. The future will be whatever it will be based on causes and conditions, so anxiety changes nothing. All you can do is act skillfully in the present moment. One of the most practical aspects of Marcus's philosophy is his teachings on managing your thoughts and perceptions. He understood that external events are neutral. It's our judgments about them that create our experience. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This is absolutely revolutionary when you truly grasp it. Nothing is inherently good or bad, positive or negative, except in your interpretation. Rain isn't bad. You've decided it's bad because it interferes with your plans. Someone's words aren't insulting. You've decided they're insulting based on your interpretation. Failure isn't catastrophic. You've labeled it that way. Marcus practiced constantly reframing events by examining his judgments. Someone betrays him, his initial judgment might be, "This is terrible. I've been wronged. I should be angry." But then he'd examine this judgment. Is betrayal objectively bad, or is it simply someone acting according to their nature and circumstances? Does this actually harm me, or only my ego and expectations? Can I use this as an opportunity to practice forgiveness and understanding? Through this process, he could transform potentially disturbing events into neutral or even beneficial ones. He provided a specific technique for this. When you're disturbed by an event, remove the value judgment and describe it factually. Instead of "my friend betrayed me," say "my friend chose to act in a certain way." Instead of "I failed at this important project," say "the project outcome was different than I hoped." Instead of "this traffic is terrible," say "traffic is moving slowly." Notice how the emotional charge completely disappears when you remove the judgment. The facts remain the same, but your experience changes entirely. You can practice this immediately. Anytime you feel disturbed, pause and identify your judgment. Then describe the situation without any value labels. Just the facts. You'll notice that most of your disturbance comes from your interpretation, not from the facts themselves. Marcus also taught the practice of viewing things from a cosmic perspective. When something bothers you, zoom out. Imagine viewing Earth from space. See your tiny body on this tiny planet in this vast universe. See this moment as one of trillions occurring simultaneously. Recognize that in 100 years, you and everyone involved will be dust, and this event will be completely forgotten. Does it still seem important? This cosmic perspective doesn't mean nothing matters. It means that many things we treat as critical are actually insignificant, freeing up our energy for what truly matters. Let's discuss Marcus's teachings on dealing with anger, one of his most frequent topics. As emperor, he faced constant provocations, incompetence, betrayal, and disrespect. Yet he recognized that anger was self-destructive and irrational. He wrote, "How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the circumstances that aroused it?" Think about this. Someone does something that annoys you. The annoying action lasts a moment. Your anger can last hours or days, disturbing your peace, damaging your relationships, impairing your judgment, and causing stress. The anger is worse than the original offense. Marcus provided several techniques for managing anger. First, pause before reacting. He would tell himself, "Wait before you respond. Give yourself time to think." In that pause, the intensity of anger diminishes, and wisdom can emerge. Second, understand the other person's perspective. People act according to what they think is right, given their knowledge and nature. They're not trying to anger you. They're trying to get their needs met or avoid pain. When you understand this, anger transforms into compassion. Third, remember your own faults. You've made countless mistakes, been wrong numerous times, acted foolishly regularly. If you deserve patience and forgiveness for your errors, don't others deserve the same? Fourth, consider whether anger helps. Does getting angry change what happened? Does it solve the problem? Does it make you more effective? Almost never. Anger usually makes everything worse. Fifth, recognize that holding anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. You're the one suffering, not them. Marcus would remind himself, the best revenge is not to be like that. Instead of getting angry at people's faults, he would focus on not possessing those faults himself. Someone is dishonest, don't become dishonest in response, maintain your integrity. Someone is cruel, respond with kindness. This isn't weakness, it's strength. It's maintaining control over yourself rather than letting others control you. You can implement these anger management techniques today. When you feel anger rising, pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, will anger help this situation? Consider the other person's perspective. Remember your own faults. Choose your response deliberately rather than reacting automatically. Over time, this practice will transform your emotional life. You'll notice that most things that used to anger you simply don't anymore. You'll see them as neutral events or opportunities to practice wisdom. Marcus spent considerable time writing about the importance of focusing on the present moment. He understood that most suffering comes from dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. He wrote, "Confine yourself to the present. The past is gone and you can't change it. The future hasn't happened and worrying about it doesn't help. All you ever have is this present moment, this current breath, this current action." Marcus practiced radical presence. When meeting with advisors, he was fully present with them. When eating, he fully experienced eating. When fighting battles, he focused entirely on the present tactical situation. This presence served multiple purposes. First, it eliminated unnecessary suffering. You can't worry about the future or regret the past when you're fully absorbed in the present. Second, it improved his effectiveness. Present focus allows you to respond skillfully to current circumstances rather than being distracted. Third, it allowed him to find peace even in difficult circumstances. Even in the midst of war, he could find moments of beauty and tranquility by being fully present. He taught a specific practice. When you find your mind wandering to past or future, gently bring it back to present sensations. What do you see right now? What do you hear? What do you feel in your body? What action are you taking? Anchor yourself in immediate reality. This is the foundation of mindfulness meditation, but Marcus was practicing it 2,000 years before it became popular in the West. The present moment is also where all your power resides. You can't act in the past or future, you can only act now. Every moment of presence is a moment of potential, a chance to choose wisely, to embody your values, to be the person you want to be. Marcus reminded himself constantly, stop whatever you're doing for a moment and ask yourself, am I afraid of death because I won't be able to do this anymore? This question highlighted the importance of each present activity. If an activity isn't worth doing, why are you doing it? If it is worth doing, then do it with full presence and attention. You can transform your life by practicing presence. Start with small moments. When drinking water, just drink water. Experience the coolness, the taste, the sensation of swallowing. When walking, feel your feet on the ground, notice your breath, observe your surroundings. When talking with someone, be fully with them, not planning your response or thinking about other things. These moments of presence accumulate into a fundamentally different way of experiencing life. Instead of sleepwalking through most of your life, lost in thoughts, you'll be awake, alive, experiencing reality directly. Marcus wrote extensively about the importance of living according to nature, both universal nature and your own specific nature. For the Stoics, living according to nature meant living according to reason, virtue, and your role in the cosmic order. On a universal level, humans are rational, social creatures. Therefore, living according to nature means using reason rather than being controlled by emotions, and contributing to the welfare of others rather than being purely selfish. Marcus believed that virtue, excellence of character, was the only true good. He identified 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These virtues are ends in themselves, not means to something else. You pursue them because they constitute human excellence, not because they'll make you rich or famous. On an individual level, living according to nature means fulfilling your specific role. Marcus's role was emperor, so he had to govern justly, lead effectively, and serve Rome. He couldn't shirk these responsibilities just because they were difficult or unpleasant. That would be violating his nature and his duty. He wrote, "Do what nature demands, set yourself in motion, if it is in your power, and don't worry whether anyone will know it." This highlights that virtue is its own reward. You don't act virtuously for recognition or reward. You act virtuously because it's the right way to live. You're fulfilling your human potential. Marcus also taught that humans have a specific function, just as eyes have the function of seeing. The function of humans is to think rationally and act with justice and kindness. When you fulfill this function, you experience genuine satisfaction, regardless of external circumstances. This is completely different from pleasure seeking. Pleasure comes and goes, depends on circumstances, and often leads to its opposite. Virtue-based satisfaction is stable, depends only on your choices, and deepens over time. Consider your own life. What is your nature? What are your strengths and talents? What role do you occupy? Parent, teacher, leader, creator? Living according to your nature means excellently fulfilling these roles. It means using your specific talents in service of something beyond yourself. It means developing your rational capacity and moral character. This is the path to genuine fulfillment. One of the most challenging teachings in meditations concerns the practice of amor fati, love of fate. This goes beyond acceptance to actual love of everything that happens. Marcus wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." He meant that a strong character transforms every experience, good or bad, into fuel for growth. The Stoic sage doesn't merely tolerate difficult experiences, they welcome them as opportunities. Betrayal becomes an opportunity to practice forgiveness. Loss becomes an opportunity to practice resilience. Insult becomes an opportunity to practice patience. Illness becomes an opportunity to practice courage. Nothing is wasted. Everything is useful if you have the right perspective. Marcus practiced this constantly. The empire facing military threats, an opportunity to demonstrate leadership. Political enemies scheming against him, an opportunity to practice wisdom. Physical illness, an opportunity to maintain dignity despite suffering. He literally looked for the value in every challenging situation. This practice requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Instead of dividing experiences into wanted and unwanted, you see all experiences as valuable. Instead of resisting what you don't like, you extract the lesson or benefit from it. Instead of feeling victimized by circumstances, you feel empowered because you're using everything for your growth. Now, this doesn't mean seeking out suffering or pretending negative things are positive. It means when negative things inevitably occur, you relate to them skillfully. You find the opportunity in the obstacle. You grow through what you go through. Modern psychology confirms this approach. Post-traumatic growth is a documented phenomenon where people develop greater strength, deeper relationships, new priorities, and enhanced appreciation for life after experiencing trauma. They don't just return to baseline, they transcend it. But this only happens when people actively process and find meaning in their difficult experiences. You can practice amor fati starting today. When something unpleasant happens, ask yourself, how can I use this? What can I learn? How can this make me stronger? What opportunity does this create? This simple reframe transforms you from victim to agent, from passive to active, from suffering to growing. Marcus devoted considerable attention to the practice of virtue in daily life, particularly in his interactions with others. He recognized that philosophy is useless unless it's applied. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." He held himself to extremely high standards. As emperor with absolute power, he could have indulged any desire, punished any slight, or avoided any difficulty. Instead, he practiced remarkable self-discipline. He rose early, worked tirelessly, ate simply, and treated people with respect regardless of their status. He didn't need external rules or observers to keep him in check. His character was his constraint. This is true freedom, not being able to do whatever you want, but wanting to do what is right. When you're controlled by desires, fears, or other people's opinions, you're enslaved. When you're guided by virtue, you're free. Marcus taught specific practices for embodying virtue. Start each day by reminding yourself of your principles. Before sleep, review your day. Where did you live up to your values? Where did you fall short? What will you do differently tomorrow? This daily self-examination keeps you on track. In interactions with others, pause before speaking or acting. Ask yourself, is this kind? Is this true? Is this necessary? These three questions filter out most problematic communication. When making decisions, consider not just what's effective but what's right. Marcus chose the harder path countless times because it was more virtuous. He appointed competent people even when they weren't loyal to him. He showed mercy to defeated enemies when execution would have been easier. He maintained his integrity even when no one was watching. This commitment to virtue regardless of consequences is the mark of true character. You're not virtuous only when it's convenient or when you'll be rewarded. You're virtuous because that's who you've decided to be. Consider how you can apply this in your life. What are your core values? Honesty, kindness, courage, discipline, justice? Whatever they are, you need to define them clearly. Then comes the hard part, actually living them, especially when it's difficult, inconvenient, or costly. That's where character is built. Every time you choose the virtuous path when the easier path is available, you strengthen your character. Every time you choose convenience over virtue, you weaken it. Your character is simply the accumulated choices you make when no one is watching. Marcus wrote beautifully about the interconnection of all humans and our duty to each other. He believed that humans are inherently social creatures, designed to work together and help each other. He wrote, "We were born to work together like feet, hands and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural." This wasn't abstract philosophy to Marcus, it guided his governance. He saw his role as serving Rome and its people, not using them for his benefit. He worked tirelessly for the common good, often sacrificing his personal comfort and desires. He taught that every human possesses a spark of the divine, a rational soul. Therefore, everyone deserves basic respect and consideration regardless of their status, wealth, or character. This was a radical view in Roman society, which accepted slavery and vast inequality as natural. Marcus treated slaves, servants, and commoners with dignity unusual for his time. He also recognized that helping others benefits yourself, not in a transactional way, but because humans are interconnected. When the community flourishes, individuals flourish. When you contribute to others' welfare, you fulfill your nature as a social being, which brings deep satisfaction. This is completely different from self-sacrifice. It's recognizing that there's no real separation between your good and others' good in the long run. Marcus provided practical guidance for helping others. First, understand that people do wrong out of ignorance, not malice. This generates patience and compassion rather than anger. Second, focus on their potential, not their current faults. Everyone can improve, everyone can learn. Third, help people see truth and virtue rather than forcing them. Teaching is more effective than commanding. Fourth, accept that you can't save everyone. You plant seeds, but you can't control whether they grow. You can embody these principles in your daily life. Look for opportunities to help others, not for recognition or reciprocation, but because it's fulfilling your nature as a social being. Treat everyone with basic respect and dignity, regardless of their status or how they treat you. See yourself as part of a larger community, contributing to its welfare. Recognize that your actions ripple outward, affecting others in ways you might never see. This shift from pure self-interest to enlightened social consciousness doesn't diminish you, it expands you. You're no longer just an isolated individual struggling for your own benefit. You're a meaningful part of something larger, contributing to the welfare of the whole. This provides a sense of purpose and connection that pure self-interest can never deliver. Throughout meditations, Marcus returns repeatedly to the theme of simplicity and avoiding excess. Despite unlimited wealth and power, he practiced remarkable simplicity. He wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." He recognized that most of what people pursue, luxury, status, wealth, pleasure, adds little to nothing to actual well-being. In fact, these pursuits often diminish well-being by creating dependence, anxiety, and distraction from what matters. Marcus practiced voluntary simplicity. He ate simple food, wore modest clothing, and avoided unnecessary luxury. This wasn't asceticism or punishment, it was freedom. When you don't need much, you're not vulnerable to loss. When you're not attached to comforts, you can maintain peace in any circumstance. He taught the practice of subtracting, of removing unnecessary desires and attachments rather than constantly adding more. Most people spend their lives accumulating more possessions, more achievements, more experiences. Marcus suggested the opposite. Strip away everything non-essential until only what truly matters remains. What truly matters? Your character, your relationships, your contribution, your presence, your virtue. Everything else is decoration at best, distraction at worst. This principle of simplicity extends to your daily activities. Marcus constantly questioned whether his current activity was necessary. He wrote, "Most of what we say and do is not necessary. If you can eliminate it, you'll have more time and more tranquility." Ask yourself this question frequently. Is this necessary? Am I doing this out of habit, obligation, others' expectations, or fear? Or is it actually contributing to what matters? Most people's lives are cluttered with unnecessary commitments, possessions, activities, and concerns. Each one drains a little energy and attention. Simplifying creates space, space for what matters, space for peace, space for presence. You can begin simplifying immediately. Look at your possessions. Do you use them or do they burden you? Look at your commitments. Do they align with your values or do they drain you? Look at your activities. Are they meaningful or just filling time? Start removing the unnecessary, creating space for the essential. Marcus also wrote about the importance of maintaining perspective, especially about your achievements and status. Despite being Emperor of Rome, arguably the most powerful position in the world, He constantly reminded himself of his insignificance in the cosmic scale. He wrote, "Alexander the Great and his mule driver both died, and the same thing happened to both. They were absorbed into the life force of the world, or dissolved into atoms." This isn't nihilism, it's perspective. Yes, your actions matter in the present moment, to the people around you, in your immediate sphere of influence. But in the grand scheme, you're one tiny human among billions, living for a brief moment on a small planet in a vast universe. Recognizing this has a liberating effect. It deflates ego and self-importance. It eliminates the anxiety of needing to be special or remembered. It frees you from taking yourself too seriously. Marcus practiced meditating on the fate of famous men. He would list great emperors, philosophers, generals, artists who were famous in their time. Where are they now? Dust. Who remembers them? Almost no one. What did their achievements ultimately matter? Very little. This wasn't depressing to Marcus, it was freeing. If even the greatest humans are eventually forgotten, why worry so much about your reputation, your legacy, your image? Just focus on living well now, being virtuous now, helping people now. The cosmic perspective also helps with setbacks and failures. Something went wrong? Zoom out. In 1,000 years, will this matter? In 100 years? In 10? Usually the answer is no. This isn't dismissing real problems, it's maintaining proportion. Some things truly matter: your character, your impact on people close to you, your virtue. Most things don't matter nearly as much as you think. You can practice cosmic perspective. When something bothers you, imagine viewing it from space. See the planet Earth. See your tiny location on it. See this moment as one of trillions. Does this issue still seem critical? When you achieve something, ask yourself, will this matter in 100 years? This practice keeps you grounded, focused on what genuinely matters rather than getting caught up in trivial concerns. Another crucial teaching from Marcus concerns the practice of resilience and endurance. Life will test you, repeatedly and severely. Marcus faced wars, plagues, betrayals, the death of children, political enemies, physical illness, and the crushing weight of responsibility. Yet he maintained his composure and continued fulfilling his duties. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is one of his most famous quotes, and it encapsulates the Stoic approach to obstacles. Every difficulty is an opportunity to practice virtue. Every challenge is a chance to strengthen your character. The obstacle isn't something to avoid or resent, it's the path to growth. Marcus practiced this constantly. Military defeat? An opportunity to demonstrate resilience and learn better tactics. Political opposition? An opportunity to practice patience and wisdom. Physical pain from illness? An opportunity to maintain dignity despite suffering. He developed remarkable mental toughness through constant practice. He would remind himself, "You've survived every difficult day so far. You've endured countless challenges. This too shall pass." He would mentally prepare for challenges, as we discussed earlier. He would reframe obstacles as opportunities. And he would focus on what he could control, his response, rather than what he couldn't, the obstacle itself. Modern research on resilience confirms Marcus's approach. Resilient people share certain characteristics. They maintain perspective, seeing challenges as temporary and specific rather than permanent and pervasive. They focus on what they can control. They find meaning in adversity. They maintain social connections. They practice self-care. All of these align with Stoic principles. You can build resilience using Marcus's methods. When facing difficulty, remind yourself that you've handled hard things before. See this challenge as an opportunity to grow. Focus on your response rather than the circumstance. Maintain perspective. This is temporary and you will survive it. Connect with others for support. and maintain your basic self-care, sleep, exercise, nutrition, even when it's hard. Marcus also taught the importance of persistence and patience. Change is slow, growth is gradual, mastery takes time. He wrote, just that you do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter. Cold or warm, tired or well-rested, despised or honored, dying or busy with other assignments. Because dying is one of our assignments in life. There too, do what needs doing. This highlights the Stoic commitment to continuous effort regardless of circumstances or feelings. You don't do the right thing only when you feel motivated or when conditions are favorable. You do it because it's right, period. Marcus practiced this relentlessly, even when exhausted, sick, discouraged, or facing overwhelming odds. He continued showing up and doing his duty. He didn't wait for inspiration or optimal conditions. He acted based on principle, not feeling. This is crucial because feelings are unreliable. Some days you'll feel motivated. Most days you won't. If you only act when you feel like it, you'll accomplish very little. But if you act based on commitment to your values regardless of feelings, you'll achieve remarkable things. This requires patience with yourself and with the process. You won't transform overnight. You'll make mistakes. You'll backslide. That's normal and expected. What matters is continuing to show up, continuing to try, continuing to recommit to your principles. Marcus reviewed his progress regularly, not to judge himself harshly but to learn and adjust. Where did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What will I do differently tomorrow? This gentle, persistent self-examination and adjustment over years is what creates transformation. You can apply this immediately. Choose one area where you want to grow. Maybe it's patience, or health, or creativity, or relationships. Define what living that value looks like specifically. Then commit to small, consistent actions aligned with that value, regardless of how you feel. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. Keep doing it. Review your progress weekly. Celebrate successes and learn from failures. Over time, maybe years, you'll look back and realize you've fundamentally changed. That's how transformation works. Not dramatic sudden shifts, but small consistent steps in the right direction. Let's explore Marcus's teachings on dealing with criticism and others' opinions. As emperor, he faced constant criticism, gossip, and judgment. Some was valid, much was unfair or malicious. He developed a robust framework for handling this. He wrote, I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. He recognized the irony. We claim to know ourselves best, yet we let others' opinions disturb our peace and dictate our actions. This is irrational. Marcus taught that you should care about being good, not about being seen as good. These are completely different pursuits. If you focus on actually being virtuous, honest, kind, and wise, you'll have genuine self-respect regardless of others' opinions. But if you focus on managing others' perceptions, you'll be enslaved to their constantly changing judgments, and you'll never develop real character. He also recognized that criticism often says more about the critic than about you. People judge through their own lens, their own values, their own insecurities. Their judgment is their opinion, not objective truth. You can consider whether criticism has merit, learn from it if it does, and discard it if it doesn't. But you should never let it disturb your inner peace. Marcus would ask himself, does this person's opinion actually matter? Do they have wisdom and virtue? Are they in a position to truly understand my situation and choices? If not, why am I giving their opinion power over me? You can practice this freedom from others' opinions starting now. When you feel the sting of criticism or judgment, pause. Ask yourself, is this true? Is there something valuable I can learn here? If yes, Learn it and move forward. If no, let it go completely. Remember that you cannot control what others think of you, so why waste energy trying? Focus instead on being the person you want to be, on living according to your values. Let your character speak for itself. Some people will appreciate you, others won't, and that's fine. You're not here to please everyone. You're here to live well, to contribute what you can, to grow in virtue and wisdom. That's what matters. That's what you'll remember when you look back on your life, not whether everyone liked you or approved of your choices. As we come near to the end of this journey through Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, I want you to understand something profound. This book wasn't written by someone living in comfort, theorizing about life from a distance. These insights came from a man carrying the weight of an empire, losing children, fighting wars, battling illness, facing betrayal, and dealing with the same frustrations and challenges you face, just on a larger scale. Yet he found peace, he maintained his integrity, he lived with dignity and purpose. If he could do it in those circumstances, you can do it in yours. The beauty of Marcus's philosophy is that it's completely practical. You don't need to retreat to a monastery. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to wait until your life is sorted out. You can start right now, right where you are, with whatever challenges you're facing. Today, you can practice the dichotomy of control. Identify what's within your control, your thoughts, your effort, your response, and focus your energy there. Let go of everything else. Today, you can practice acceptance. Whatever has happened, accept it completely and focus on responding skillfully. Today, you can practice presence. Bring your full attention to this moment, this breath, this action. Today, you can practice virtue. Be honest, be kind, be courageous, be temperate, regardless of how you feel or what others do. Every single day is an opportunity to practice these principles, to strengthen your character, to build your inner fortress. And here's what's incredible: the more you practice, the easier it becomes. The mental muscles of wisdom, patience, courage, and self-discipline grow stronger with use, just like physical muscles. You'll notice that things that used to devastate you now barely register. Situations that used to make you angry now just seem like neutral events. Challenges that used to overwhelm you now feel like opportunities. This isn't suppressing your emotions or becoming cold. It's developing genuine strength and wisdom. It's becoming the kind of person who can handle whatever life brings with grace and dignity. Marcus Aurelius lived nearly 2,000 years ago, but his words are just as relevant today because human nature hasn't changed. We still struggle with the same fears, desires, frustrations, and questions. We still seek peace, purpose, and meaning. We still face loss, difficulty, and uncertainty. And the solution he found still works. Focus on what you control, accept what you don't, live according to virtue, maintain perspective, practice presence, and treat others with kindness and justice. Imagine yourself 1 year from now, after practicing these principles daily. Imagine the strength you'll have developed, the peace you'll have cultivated, the wisdom you'll have gained. Imagine facing challenges that would have destroyed the old you, and handling them with calm competence. Imagine looking back on difficult situations and realizing you grew through them rather than being diminished by them. Imagine the respect you'll have for yourself, knowing that you're living according to your values regardless of circumstances. This isn't fantasy. This is completely achievable, but it requires commitment, daily practice, and patience with yourself. It requires choosing the harder path of virtue over the easier path of comfort. It requires continuous self-examination and adjustment. Most people won't do this work. They'll continue reacting to life, being tossed around by circumstances and emotions, never developing real strength or wisdom. But you're different. You're here. You're learning. You're ready to begin or continue this journey. Before we finish, if you found value in this deep exploration of Marcus Aurelius's meditations, I'd be incredibly grateful if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to Audiobook Library. We're building a community of people committed to wisdom, growth, and living with intention. By subscribing, you'll get access to more transformative content like this, more insights from the greatest minds in history, more practical philosophy that you can apply immediately to create real change in your life. Share this with someone who needs to hear these messages, someone who's struggling, someone who's seeking wisdom, someone who wants to live better. These ancient insights are too valuable to keep to yourself. Remember, you have everything you need within you right now to begin transforming your life. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need more resources. You don't need to wait for someday. You need to start today, right now, with whatever situation you're in. Start small, pick one principle we've discussed. Maybe it's the dichotomy of control, or practicing presence, or reframing your thoughts, or accepting reality. Practice that one principle today, really practice it, notice your thoughts, catch yourself when you slip, recommit when you do. Then do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. This is how transformation happens, one day, one choice, one moment of practice at a time. You are capable of remarkable things. You are capable of developing unshakable peace regardless of circumstances. You are capable of living with integrity and virtue. You are capable of turning obstacles into opportunities. You are capable of maintaining dignity and grace no matter what life throws at you. Marcus Aurelius proved it's possible even in the most challenging circumstances imaginable. Now it's your turn to prove it in your life. The power is within you. It always has been. You just need to claim it through daily practice and commitment. Your journey toward wisdom, strength, and inner peace begins right now, at this very moment. Everything you've learned here is just the beginning. Now go live it, embody it, become it. Thank you for spending this time with me on Audiobook Library. Now go out there and show the world what you're truly capable of becoming.